With most big purchases, like you buy a car or buy a house, you'll want to insure this house against any sort of loss of use, whatever. Kind of talked about that already in the previous lesson, but this is specifically how do you figure out your premiums. Okay. If you remember back when we did the car insurance lesson, basically it's just a table and you have to look up the value of your house and its fire rating. So basically, like a wood framed house versus a brick built house, it's they're going to have different fire ratings. If a wooden house catches on fire, it's going to burn. Brick house catches on fire, you got a little time. So those are just a couple things, and I'll show you guys the table and kind of how to look it all up. But the premium is what you pay annually for your insurance. That works for health insurance, life insurance, car insurance, you name it. Premium is what you pay annually. Okay, so we're looking for the annual insurance costs, basically. Um, so the fire ratings, like newer woods are fire retardant, and I'm not an engineer. I don't really understand all of it, but I do know that certain materials are more flame retardant than others, which changes the classification of your home. So the better classification you get, the less your premium is going to be because fire isn't as much of a risk. We did something very similar with the safety ratings of cars. The newer car, the more safety features, the less your premium is going to be. It's kind of the same thing with the house. You buy an old house built in like the 1930s, that wood's nice and dried out, it's going to go up like a match. So anyway, some other things that affect that, like I have a fire hydrant that is in my neighbor's yard, so I have easy access to a fire hydrant if, God forbid, my house were to catch on fire. So that's going to help out a little bit with my premiums there too. So anyway, so here is the table that we're going to be using this lesson. So there's two basic kind of houses that we're going to be looking at here. There is a brick or masonry veneer, brick front house, and then there's just a wood frame. So we've got these two different categories of house. Here's your brick and here's your wood. So each of those kind of have their own sections. Okay. The fire rating of the house are these numbers here, 1 through 6, 7 and 8, 9, 10, 11. Same thing for the wood frame. So what you're going to do is look up the amount of coverage on the house, not the replacement value. It can be a $10 million house, but if you only cover it for $500,000, you're covering a very small portion of it. So we're going to have to calculate the amount of insurance coverage like we did yesterday. Friday, I guess. I don't know. My days are off. So we're going to calculate how much they're insuring the house for, and then look up the fire rating to find their annual premium. So you've really got not a whole lot of math to do on this. Most of it's just looking numbers up on a table. And I'll pop that table back in there from time to time. Okay. So here we go. The one thing you will need to be able to do is to figure out the amount of coverage. This is what we did in the last lesson. You take the replacement value of the house times the percentage that it is insured for. Okay, so if it's a $500,000 house and you only insure it for 80% of that, you're looking at $400,000 worth of coverage. Okay, so we're gonna have to do that calculation and then look it up on the table. Pretty straightforward. All right, so Marcia's home has a replacement value of $150,000 and she insured it for 80% of its value. So we've got $150,000. She insured it for only 80%. So how much coverage does she have? 150, 80%. She has $120,000 worth of coverage on her house. Okay. It is a wood frame in class 4. So I need to look up wood frame over here, wood frame. Class 4 is between 1 and 6, and it's insured for $120,000. Her annual premium is $476. Okay, that last part is just looking it up on a table. You need the type of house and the fire protection class. Okay, you take that along with the dollar amount of coverage that you calculated. You just look it up on the table. And if you'll notice, if you kind of look along on this table, if same dollar amount, same type of house, but the class changes, those insurance premiums go up. So I'm assuming the lower the number, the better your rating. Okay, I've left the table there. The replacement cost of Joel's brick home is $200,000, and he's insured that for 75%. So Joel's got $150,000 of insurance, basically. So this is a brick house, right? Yeah, brick home in class 11. So brick, class 11 for $150,000. His annual premium is $944. Okay. If you are an in-person student, I have copies of this table printed out so you don't have to keep flipping back and forth. But if you're a remote student, I also posted the PDF as a material in today's section so you have access to that. All right, last one. Oh, I guess that was the last one. All right, calculate the insurance amount just like you did yesterday and then look it up on the table.